What's good everybody, it's Bro Hamza from Ather Gaming, and today guys I'm coming to you with a brand new video. But before we get into it, can we go ahead and get 13 likes because I have uploaded for my second day in a row. And like I said before, we are going to be uploading every single day for the month of December. Another announcement I want to make is guys, let's try and hit 7,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I will be doing a bonus giveaway on top of our weekly giveaways, which the details will be coming soon in the near future. Again guys, while you're down there, go ahead and turn on that notification bell so you get notified whenever we upload. And without further ado guys, let's get straight into this video. Alright guys, now I'm sure you saw from the title, I am going to be ranking every single rogue deck in my personal opinion, just because I feel like the whole meta list thing will be kind of overdone. If you guys want me to do this almost every format, please let me know down below guys, and let's try and get 13 likes on this video. Anyways guys, let's start the video off with, again, of course, personal favorite, ABC Dragon Buster. Now again, honestly, you can make an argument for this deck to be semi-competitive, but just right now I feel like this deck just doesn't have what it takes to keep up with the current metagame. So we're gonna go ahead and drop this card in decent. 3 Dragon Busters still won't bump it up to semi-competitive, don't worry about that. Just because of the way that the format is evolving and the way that the meta is right now, ABC can't keep up with those sort of decks. I know that there are hands and there are combos that can get you those type of boards, but just right now, if you want to play those type of boards, you'd rather just play those other decks. So I'm gonna go ahead and put Dragon Buster in the decent category just for now. Again, the reason why I'm saying it can be semi-competitive is because against decks like Zodiacs or decks that kind of really need their normal summon, you can use Dragon Buster to just banish the normal summon, then tag out and kill your opponent. But just right now, I just feel like it's just not it right now. But moving into the future, it can definitely be it. Now, our next deck we are going to be talking about is Plunder Patrol, and I'm going to go ahead and put Plunder Patrol in not yet category. Again, I know that it can win events, and there are YouTube videos of it winning events, and I personally do believe that it's a good deck. Again, you need to understand that those events that it won were just like rogue events, and I know that it's like the best rogue deck out of the rogue decks, but this is going to be rogue decks that can pair up against the meta, and I feel like Plunder Patrol is just missing it. It's missing a certain variant, it's just missing a certain little bit of sauce. So I feel like Plunder Patrol just is not it as of now. Now, moving on to the future, will I be wrong? Maybe, but I'm just going to leave it at not yet in my opinion. Again, if you guys disagree with me in any way, shape, or form, make sure you go ahead and comment down below and let me know. But anyways, moving on to the next deck guys. The next deck is going to be Buster Blader, and this deck I'm going to put in the competitive category. And the reason for this is really simple, right? It can extra deck lock your opponent. It can go ahead and actually just like single-handedly floodgate your opponent with Buster Dragon, turning your monsters into dragons. And then on top of that, it can also just literally Baguska your opponent with this, and then all those cards come together to make one form of like a nasty, insane, super frightening board. So I feel like Buster Blader is really good, and then pair this with the Dogma variant as well. It can be very powerful in that regard. So I feel like putting Buster Blader at competitive is just the right thing to do. It's really OP, it's really slept on, so that's what I'm gonna do right there. Our next deck is going to be like this Chaos dot deck, the Chaos Ruler deck. I'm sure you guys saw like on Sam's channel, I think Jesse Cotton did a deck file on it. It is good. You could put it in not yet, but the thing is, I'm gonna put it at decent actually, and the reason for this is that, of course, if you get Colossus, it'll become competitive, but decent right now, depending on the ban list, it'll go to semi-competitive. But right now, we're gonna put it in decent, and there are obvious reasons for it, right? If you've played this deck, you understand why this deck can be so OP, but why it's not OP at the same time, because it just feels like it's just not enough, right? You want to go first, you want to make this massive board, but the issue is, if you're gonna do that, just play the other decks. Like I said before, there isn't anything too crazy about this deck. I know it has really good floating potential, but it's just not that good right now. Again, decent is like more like, depending on the ban list, it'll change these decks for sure. I'm not saying that these decks can't be semi-competitive. I'm just saying right now, personally speaking, I feel like it is decent. Moving on to our next deck, it's going to be like a Charmers deck, and this is just going to be meme tier. People just wanted a structure deck, so they got it. I personally don't feel like it's a good deck at all. I know there was like that little Inari FTK in OCG, but we can't really do that because we don't have Grinder Golem. So I'm going to go ahead and leave Charmers in the meme tier category for now. Moving on, I mean, obviously there's not much to say. Moving on to our next deck, it's going to be the PK deck. So again, you know, with Torn Scale, with Leviers, with all that sort of shenanigans, with like Rusty, again, it's going to be competitive. Now, this isn't going to be like a competitive tier 1 deck. It's going to be competitive rogue, meaning it can compete with the tier 1 decks, right? But again, depending on representation, this deck can go up. I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in the competitive tier right now. And it's not, and again, it's not meta just because I personally feel like it's not meta. But again, you can disagree, and if you do, comment down below and let me know. But again, it's just gonna be competitive. A rogue right now, again, it can do a lot of shenanigans. It can float for sure, play through hand traps. It can fully load its graveyard as well. And I feel like a lot of decks again aren't playing Lancia, so this deck can definitely get away with you know, maneuvering under multitude of hand traps. Don't really lose a lot of hand traps, and Torn skill is like pretty insane. So again, Cherubini.deck, PK.deck is for sure competitive. Again, moving on to like a fan favorite, I would say is Heroes. And I hate to say it, but Heroes is not competitive. It's going to be semi-competitive, meaning that it is close and it can steal wins for sure, but I just don't feel like it's it right now. Again, it loses to a lot going first. Going second, it's a lot better, but again, playing go second decks in the current format, you're kind of trolling because there are decks that can just literally FTK you, as I said in my ban list video, with like Infernoble that can rip multiple cards from your hand, with Dragonmaid that will lock you out of the extra deck and rip cards from your hand. There are a lot of decks that if they go first, they insta win. So again, Heroes going first, they don't really do a lot. They lose to Nibiru, lose to Storm, lose to Evenly, can't really play around much, lose to decent hand traps as well. So it's gonna be semi-competitive. It can still win, don't get me wrong, and I'm not discrediting Heroes in what it does with like its upside with like Dark Law, but its downside is really low. So again, we're gonna put this in semi-competitive. Moving on, we got BA. Now this is just kind of any Burning Abyss variant. Of course, the PK variant I feel like is more competitive, but I'm gonna be talking about the trap variant here, where they go like IP, they go Beatrice, they go like 2 trap cards, maybe like a Dynamiscus, a Karma Cut. We're gonna go ahead and put BA in the semi-competitive tier list. It is a rogue deck, absolutely, but like with IP, Beatrice, and like 2 back row, it's pretty problematic. And I mean, if they do play Dragoon, that's really problematic as well. So we're gonna go ahead and put BA in the semi-competitive tier list. Again, nothing too flashy about it, but again, its floating is really OP, and its floating is a lot better than the Chaos deck, but not as good as the PK decks. So that's why I'm gonna go ahead and put this deck as semi-competitive. And yeah, now moving on, we are going to be talking about Orcust here. Now again, Orcust is a really interesting deck. Again, not a lot of decks are playing Lancia in this current metagame, but I just feel like it's not good enough to be competitive, sadly. Again, it's super reliant on its normal summon. It's not at that point, again, where like you can just go danger, any 2 monsters into Mermaid, and just play from there. And losing Harpoorer does hurt the deck a little bit. It kind of curbs its overall ceiling, but it has a decent floor, I would say, so I'm going to put it at semi-competitive. Again, its boards can be scary. It has really good recursion as well, but I just personally feel like it's not competitive just because it loses to decent simple disruptions. I mean, you go normal summon Girsu, use effect, you get Fog Bladed, it sucks. You're like, it sucks a lot. Scrap Cycler, same thing, right? There are a lot of cards that can kind of stop it from progressing the game state, so I feel like putting this card at semi-competitive is good enough. Moving on to the next deck, guys, we are going to be talking about Dragonmaid. I know a lot of people have been saying that this deck is meme tier, but literally if you play this deck or played against this deck, you would understand that this deck is actually semi-competitive. And now this is not troll at all. Don't click away from this video, guys. I personally feel like Dragonmaid is a very powerful deck. Yeah, so basically the reason why Dragonmaid is pretty good is, again, all these cards replace themselves for the most part. Chamber can get you the Monster Born. You can link Chamber into like, I think Striker Dragon, or you can go into like LP. It doesn't matter. And then you can reborn and go into a Seals play. You can do all sorts of shenanigans. Laundry can get you the trap card and let you reborn cards as well, so it's really powerful. Again, they can put up pretty cool boards as well, where they do like Seals plus like Shoe, I think, or the Negator, whatever it is, and then you can go like negate and then tag out and summon the other girl, and I think House pops a card as well, so it's pretty decent disruption. And then Seals will be able to summon itself as well, and then bounce cards. So it is really funny to see your opponent play against this deck. Again, it's not meme tier because it actually can steal wins and win events. Go ahead and put this in semi-competitive. Now again, I'm going to kind of group these 2 decks together, which is Geist and Guru. I'm going to go ahead and put these cards competitive because they're all the same thing for the most part. You know, they do their shenanigans, they summon Dragoon, they do back row stuff. They're both the same thing. They function around 1 monster or 1 card. This being Hidden City / Guru, this being Multi-Faker. So you can go ahead and put these cards just in the competitive tier. Again, they're not meta just because there are better trap cards like Eldritch with board wipes. Shout out Steven, Pendulum. But yeah, competitive is just these 2 cards right here. Now moving on, we're gonna go into Final Countdown. Now I know a lot of people want me to say this is decent, but it's absolutely meme tier. You actually Final Countdown, now you literally stall your opponent for 20 turns, and Final Countdown is gonna consider Mind Burn and just decks that function around Mind, like Mind Deck Out. It's not gonna be decks that use Mind to kind of play. It's just gonna be decks that rely on Mind, like in order to play like 1D a piece, deck your opponent up Mystic Mind, Field Barrier Mystic Mind, anything like that. Another meme deck, I don't really know why I put this here, is Ice Barriers. I had a couple people tell me to put this in. There's not much to say about it. It's just meme. Like, The only good card is the Medallion card because it's not hard once to turn Rhoda, but apart from that, I just don't feel like it's good. Cyber Dragons, we are going to go ahead and put it in semi-competitive. Shout out Yassine. Cyber Dragons is a really good deck, especially going second. I know, like I was preaching like, oh, go second's not that good, but Cyber Dragons is one of those decks that can actually go second, break a board, and OTK, even if they have like 3 cards in their hands. There's a lot of power that this deck has, that I feel like it is really good. Semi-competitive for sure. Not competitive just right now, but again, it can hit that ceiling absolutely 100%. It's just that Mega Fleet right now is like, it's only okay, right? It's not insane like it was in MR4. So I'm gonna go ahead and put Cyber Dragons in our semi-competitive list. The next deck we are going to talk about Sky Strikers. I'm gonna go ahead and put Sky Strikers in the competitive list. Ray is really annoying to deal with still. Rose helps you kind of push and OTK your opponent. Again, it doesn't have engage, but it still has access to all the Sky Striker cards. You can hard draw them, you can area 0 them, you can Hayate dump to Kagari, add back. So again, it is still really OP. And again, this is what I was saying, it's the difference from the Final Countdown deck. It's because it plays Mystic Mine, but it doesn't revolve around Mystic Mine the same way that Final Countdown does, right? So again, Sky Strikers is a very OP deck in terms of like the rogue aspect. So I feel like Strikers is really good. I'm gonna go ahead and put Strikers right here. Madolche, it can be decent or semi-competitive. The reason why I'm not saying it's meta or competitive right now is because when I was testing with this deck, there were hands that I would open where like I literally had to go like set maybe like 2 Cyclones, the trap card, and just sit on like some Chateau or whatever and not be able to play. So it does suck. But again, semi-competitive because it can put up really cool boards. It can go second in OTK. So I feel like semi-competitive is good enough in its own regard. Maju, I'm going to say not yet. Maju, it feels like it's really reliant on the meta. But again, this deck can play cards like Dimension Shifter. So again, it can like infinitely jump up to semi-competitive or decent. But just right now, I feel like it's not there. Maju is a really good deck when the format is undefined to like kind of like sweep you off your feet with like this like go second drain where it can kill you, and then go first where it sides in floodgates. So I feel like just right now it's not there. Again, it's really meta reliant. Prank Kids, we're gonna go ahead and put Prank Kids in tier 1. Again, a lot of 1-card engines, a lot of ways to manipulate your board state and deal with your opponent, be really problematic. Again, this deck literally constantly wins in time, which is pretty funny. But just right now I'm gonna put it here. And then shout out to Tisei Jeju, my boy Kalen, because he showed that you can actually use Battle Butler twice. You can use Battle Butler during your opponent's turn once, and then banish Meow Meow from your graveyard, and then use it again to Regeki multiple times. So you get 2 board wipes, really OP. Numeron decks, I'm going to say not yet. Again, I know Numerons can play here as well, but why play Numerons when you have Dragoon? And again, this is more like the Numeron OTK deck, the pure Numeron deck. And again, you guys saw at the beginning of the format, Numerons are kind of going crazy. Like they were eating, you know, they were deep in their bag. But right now, Numeron's just not that good. So I'm going to say not yet. Paleo is another deck that I can say not yet because it feels like it's format reliant. Usually when a ban list hits, like I said before, we are in ban list season right now, but usually when a ban list hits, Paleo will go up in popularity because people just love this deck. But then again, once the format gets more and more defined and people start dealing with back row decks, Paleo drops down again. So again, it's a deck that's really bipolar. Can you make an argument for it to be decent? Absolutely, but I just feel like as of now, it's not yet. Next up, we are going to talk about Adamancipator, and I'm going to put this deck in competitive tier for rogues. Absolutely, this deck is 100% insanity in what it does. It's honestly, it can be meta. It's just such a slept on deck. People don't want to play it anymore because they lost their block dragon, but this deck can still do so much, man. Like Nibiru is nothing to this deck. Hand drops is nothing to this deck. Supplier is insane. You can play all sorts of other cards as well. Literally, my deck profile, guys, is like the perfect build for Rock Dot deck. It's like literally the most competitive deck in that regard. And again, Salamangreat, Sunlight Wolf, we can go semi-competitive or competitive here. I don't really like this deck at all. I'm gonna put it in competitive right now, just because my boy Tony Kim plays this deck a lot, and my brother showcased a lot of Salamangreat plays that, you know, kind of convinced me that this deck is pretty good. It's just not enough right now, sadly, because Nibiru really slaps the deck in the face. I know there are ways to, like, you can end with like Dragoon Anaconda, but the issue is you work hard to get your Salamangreat trap cards to revolve around the Salamangreat strategy, and then you just throw them out the window for Dragoon. If Dragoon gets disrupted, you kind of lose. So yeah, and then again, we're gonna go ahead and Unchained. We're gonna put Unchained in semi-competitive. Being able to play board wipes like Torrential Tribute, like Dark Hole, is really good right now, especially to deal with Zodiacs. But again, I just feel like it's not good enough as of now to keep up with the meta. But again, I know I say again, but whatever. It can play D-Shifter, really good. Can play through Floodgates as well. So I feel like Unchained is a really good rogue deck choice. And of course, if you want, you can put it in competitive. I'm just gonna put it in semi-competitive just to make it look better. And yeah, so I mean, this is my tier list, guys. If you guys have any other comments, make sure you guys comment down below, and I'll be sure to address them. I literally respond to every single comment. Again, guys, subscribe. We're trying to hit 7K by the end of the year. I know we can do it. I'm gonna do a bonus giveaway if we hit it on top of the weekly giveaways, and those details will be you know, of course I'll release them later on once, you know, we get on further on in the week. And of course, guys, this is Hamza. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Let's go right to the outro. Alright, guys, so that was the end of the video. If you guys liked the video and made it this far, go ahead and comment Konami down below. Guys, again, thank you so much for dealing with me and supporting us in this month of December. We are going to be uploading banger after banger daily, so stay subscribed for that. But without further ado, guys, this is Hamza, and like I always say, keep on shining, never give up on your dreams. Peace.